Shane, quick question. Well, hold on. Well, not quick question.
That's not a very quick question.
All right.
No, I don't have a question.
Actually, last year Michael was so incredibly intense, and I loved that. And that kind of drove him, and that also kept him from Maggie, yet at the same time, or Nikita. But now they're in this perfect, fabulous relationship, but can he really keep avoiding the ghost that long? I mean, will that come back to haunt him, so to speak?
Yeah, I mean, a lot of what happened in Michael's past, though, was resolved in the first season. His former best friend that killed his family, that was taken care of. He was shocked by being betrayed by Percy. That wasn't taken care of, but at least he one-upped them in the end and they got away. So a lot of his past, his dark past, was taken care of. So now they wanted Michael. I think Craig, honestly, I love playing Michael Dark, but I think Craig really wanted to lighten them up. And so by bringing them together, it was able to lighten them up to an extent. But they're always, they're on the run. There's always issues happening that don't make it too easy. There's a massive rift that's going to happen in a couple of episodes that ends up being Michael's fault for once. Instead of Nikita making the decisions and doing all those things, it ends up falling on Michael's shoulders. But it's not dark, so it's not. He is a lot more light this year, and I think what's fun is as we get the episodes, there'll be something where suddenly Michael kills someone in cold blood, or there's just something like that. I'm like, yay, thank you. Just started getting back into the thing. And, a lot of it's too is, I on a whim, just from an aesthetic level, on a whim, just grew up hair for fun. They didn't dislike it, so we just started shooting with it. I think a lot of times, too, it's weird to think about how a character looks, but like when you have longer hair, it might be more boyish, it might look less dark. I'm not wearing the suits anymore, I'm not in Division anymore, so those things don't also help the situation. And I've had conversations with Greg, too, and he's like, you seemed a little more casual in that scene. I was like, I guarantee you, I was the exact same, but I had long hair and a sweater, and it just didn't come off, and the lighting was, he's like, oh yeah, you're probably right. It's just one of those things where you're put into a different environment which lightens the mood automatically. And now having Burkle, especially, basically living with him and dealing with him, he's so, likable, especially this year, that it lightens the mood as well.
But the fact that they're rogue, I think, is a good place for both of them to be right now, and that kind of keeps you a little in the dark zone a little bit too.
Yeah, I believe so, and it means we're comfortable because we're with and getting Burkhoff's help currently. But things are consistently going to change, as we've figured out already on the show. So you can only be comfortable for so long, and I enjoy that. And as long as, and the writers are great about it, they do give us a clue of what's going on in certain ways, and there hasn't been any bald-faced lies of something that's going to happen that just doesn't happen. They've always proven what they were supposed to do, and it's I enjoy that at least because I know there are many other shows that don't.
I feel like just with your character, we've seen a lot of progression from season one, not just what we can see, every week that we can see if we look, but just emotionally and also in the way he reacts to people in his relationships. How do you feel? I mean, in playing that, is it harder or easier to play how much he's evolved since that person that he was in that very first episode in, season one?
Technically, I think it's easier to play. It's harder for me as in Shane mentally because I feel anytime you feel something's easy, you get scared as an actor or as a performer because you feel like you're phoning it in or you're doing something that's off because it's too easy. Because also as an actor, so much, as you said, happened in clearing up everything that was going on with Michael in 1 year that there's not really that much unless you just start making things up along the way that could also have happened with Michael unless we get to him when he was a kid, or things like that. So he already had his family. It was taken away. He would have been married with them for the rest of his life. That was taken away. Now what we're adding new was the one time he ended up going on a mission where it was a sexual mission, where it was where he was the bow to someone else. gets him in trouble in a sense because he kind of started having feelings for that person. So he stopped from that, wasn't going to do that anymore, and only did action missions and not a seduction mission. Whereas Nikita did that a bunch of times, and a lot of the women in the division did that a lot. You find that too, but otherwise, he ended the year of being, I am with Nikita. He should be more comfortable. Now the uncomfortable thing is about being together in a relationship on the run, and it's smaller issues than it was in the first season. So I tell that to Craig all the time. I'm like, look, everything has happened in Michael's life literally in 1 year, besides surprises. That's what I'm figuring. We never knew where he lived. They've all been surprises. I mean, they all have to be surprises. So I'm gonna be comfortable. Unless it's about a mission where I feel she's in trouble or someone else is in trouble. But right now, he's at home. So until things change, he's got to be a lot more comfortable than he was last year. Hence, maybe growing out the hair. Hence, maybe not as angry and everything, or not as brooding. And then as soon as you want to, there's a scene where, or last night where I give him a massage. It's just like, you throw those in, and it's like, you can't be brooding while you're doing that, because it's going to just take away from it.
I feel like that's really been kind of the main difference this season as opposed to last year, where it was just all about, they were either on missions, or they were in Nikita's apartment, or they were in division, or, this year you get to interact with a lot of different people, and you're out more, and you're doing more beyond your boundaries.
I am, yeah, and I think, I still think what was something that was powerfully said last year was, Michael's more of the Republican character, and Nikita's more of the liberal character. There's the conservative and the liberal, and Michael feels, which they touched on a little bit, we haven't done that yet this year, but feels that there's good in division. And mentally he has to wrap around the fact of all the negative things that he's done in his career there. So he feels that division has done some good missions, although I don't think they've ever shown that on the show yet, but has done good missions, and that there is a way to save division. And possibly they run it together. I mean, that was something that was thought of, in the second episode of last year as a potential thing. Maybe it never happens, who knows. But because of that, that's something that I want, that I think is going to be popping up a little bit more to show the at least inner conflict of them and their separate political beliefs, or their separate just the natural worry of being in a relationship and being a man and a woman, and just disagreeing on certain things and having to be there for each other. So all of that's kind of rearing its ugly head so far in this season. But the woman that comes along soon is truly going to delve back into another part of Michael's past that will at least bring some of that moodiness out of him. But it will also kind of open another can of worms as well.
We'll do the last question, guys.
One of the things that I noticed, that I talked to Mr. Kim and also Maggie, was the little romantic moments that you had between each other. Like there'll be a look or a glance or a smile or something. And Mr. Kim said a lot of it was written and some of it is just improvised. I just wanted to get your take on that. I know some of it.
Well, yeah, no, I mean, a lot of, he said it best. A lot of it's written, a lot of it's improvised, but it's something that we wanted to, and especially Maggie knew from knowing a little bit more than the rest of us of what's going on, that we need to get those moments in soon, especially if something's going to come in between, there's going to be a rift. If we're going to be separated for a little bit, whatever the case is going to be, let's find those moments. And a lot of times when they're improvised, it's because we're overworked, we're on set, we're exhausted, we're literally not thinking about Mikita, we're trying to get through the scene. It suddenly could have been an intimate, or not an intimate scene where, a seduction scene, but literally if it's like me, if it's Michael, Nikita, and Berghoff, why not touch her shoulder? Why not do something like that? It's not written in that case, so why not do something like that? Because the audience loves it, it is real. And we do, in reality care about each other as well, that you can add those things in when there's that chemistry. So I think we did some of that with the scene last night, but I just didn't get to see it because I've been in and out of, we're always working. So I think that's very important right now. I think it's important in general, but I think that's very important right now because it's going to be missed more when it's pulled apart and loved more when it's brought back together.
You can sneak yours in. Go ahead.
All right.